What's going on, guys? I hope you are doing well this afternoon. It is 5:43 p.m. Central Standard Time where I'm at. I just wanted to update you guys in regards to what I'm seeing on the Bitcoin chart. Um, as you can see here on the 4-hour time frame, we had this base low at pretty much 25K. It's 24.919, but from a psychological standpoint, we're looking at 25K. So we had this level here that was once resistance, okay, potentially acting as support. So we had support right here. So as you can see, I'm going to circle it just so you guys understand what I'm talking about. Resistance, resistance, okay. Now, if you fast forward and zoom in, we're looking at, support and, support, potential support. All right, so if this area of 25K is lost, that is a bad sign. Now, this line, I initially thought that the bearish triangle pattern was at the 0.618 Fibonacci level, but realistically, from a break standpoint, I'm sorry, from a support and resistance standpoint, realistically, this area is a place where the bulls need to hold in order for price to continue moving to the upside. Now, personally given, if you zoom out even more, this bearish ascending broadening wedge pattern is still acting out. All right, so a lot of indications are that the 25K mark will eventually get lost. So I would definitely say, from a daily perspective, if we lose the 0.618 Fibonacci level, which we are damn near close to, if you go to the daily chart, and this white line is the 618. If we have a bearish candle close within the next hour, that is no bueno, personally. Also, it's also freaking me out from a higher term perspective is the trajectory of the 200 exponential moving average. The 200 is this line right here. Okay, so as you can see, it was ascending up. Now it's actually curling to the downside. That's not good. Okay, also, if you look at the 50 exponential moving average, which is, let me turn off this magnet tool. This 50 exponential moving average is on the verge of crossing with the 200. That is very bearish. So unless bulls completely pump the price and stop this cross from happening, it's most likely that we're gonna, see pretty much the 27K mark flip from support to resistance, and this would initiate lower prices. Now, in the short-term time frame, we do have the 25K mark acting as support. So until that's lost, I wouldn't necessarily, open up a giga short just yet. I would much rather see a confirmation close of the daily time frame, and maybe like some retrace to back test as resistance, basically at 25.572. So that's kind of like my base case if I were to open up a short position. I did have a long position. I was thinking on the lower term time frames that we held this area as support, and we're probably going to continue up maybe at the 27K mark, maybe 27.5K, or maybe even test 21.8K. But given that there was a lot of macro bearish news in the pipeline, basically FTX having to forfeit $3 billion and liquidate that for, legal expenses and all that kind of stuff, that was very, very bearish, and the market did not appreciate that news. So right when that news hit the market, boom, we broke the 618 as support. So that's not necessarily great. But from a macro level, if the bulls are able to hold this area as support here, which is basically 25K, the psychological level, when I say psychological levels, usually psychological levels are like whole numbers. It's like 25K, 25.5K, 26K. You know what I mean? So it's like, rounded numbers. But yeah, usually if you lose a round number from a psychological level, you're most likely going to hit, the base number. And given that the Fibonacci level has already been broken, unless we see like a Giga God candle come back up here and kind of just continue this momentum forward, it's highly likely that we're just going to continue to the downside, unfortunately. All right, so let me go to my momentum oscillators on like significant time frames like the 4-hour. So what I don't like in terms of momentum is that we created a low, then a lower low. Usually you want to see a low, then a higher low to initiate any long positions. So it looks like we're going to be seeing some sideways and down for the foreseeable future. Now let's go to the TSI. The TSI indicator is coming back down here. I will say this on the 4-hour time frame. I like to use the TSI for support and resistance as well. So how you measure that is you go to the tip top of the fast moving average, right? And then you also look at where the line, the slow moving average is at, and that's where you get definitive resistance. In this case, it's resistance. You can also do that with support. But as far as what I'm concerned is, we pretty much have a couple more days, I feel, before we see any significant moves to the upside, if you ask me. I honestly do feel that we're most likely going to be kind of coming down from a slow moving average perspective, and then we're eventually going to come back up. But as you can see, it's going to take days, probably a couple more days till we actually see a momentum shift. And when these lines break, it's pretty violent. So, we could get sideways and down, and then once we break that line, we then start pivoting to the upside. But, don't expect it to be like a higher high. By no means, it will not be a higher high. I'm assuming that it'll probably be lower than 27.8, maybe even lower than the 26.2. But most likely it's gonna be slightly lower, or probably around this area within the 27K mark. If the bears can solidify 27K as resistance, then that would, on a daily level, confirm with the moving average across right here at 27K. But anyway, I'm kind of getting very Nostradamus-y at this time, so I'd like to not really focus in on that kind of stuff. So let me go to the daily perspective here. Technically, we have not crossed bearish on the daily perspective on the TSI, but given that we're very, very close to it, we could come back down and maybe kind of create some form of like bullish divergence on the daily time frame. If we were to do so, that would be fuel to actually continue moving to the upside eventually. But given that the market is kind of developing this like ascending broadening wedge aftermath, I wouldn't necessarily be bullish up until this green box area. So we still have a lot to go. But from a temporary standpoint, 25K, as long as 25K is acting as support, I cannot necessarily be uber bearish. And now keep in mind this 25K mark is more applicable on a 4-hour time frame. So if you're trading on the 4-hour time frame, you're really just waiting for this triangle here, which topside triangle. Okay, let me turn it yellow so you know what I'm talking about. This downward sloping line's topside triangle. The 25K mark, this area is this area. So realistically, we could see a fake out today, right? Come back up, bounce until we get a definitive break to the downside. All right. Or conversely, we could kind of still bounce within this range and break to the upside. All right. So the percentages are heading towards to the downside. I will be honest with you on that. But yeah, we've been in this range now for what I would say about like since mid-August. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, pretty much almost a month. So we're on the verge of getting a decision, whether we're going to consolidate within this range again for a couple more weeks, and then we break to the upside, or we break down within the coming weeks. To be honest, I'm more so leaning bearish. Now, from an intraday perspective, I was kind of hoping for another back test of the 200 exponential moving average, but I don't know if we're going to be getting that due to the bearish news that we've been getting. Now, from more of an intraday perspective, I am considering this area as something to keep your eye on. Like we do have kind of like a resistance line that has shown itself right here. Okay, so I'm looking at that, but I'm also kind of keeping my eye. So pretty much within up until this cross, so we have 4 days to kind of see what's the deal. But yeah, if we get a bearish engulfing candle below 25K on the 4-hour time frame, I'd feel that much more confident in shorting the market. Now, I do want to see, will price retest this line of resistance and confirm it as resistance once more to then kind of like, continue? Because I'm thinking like there's an opportunity for price to kind of like bounce within this range, and we could either break to the upside, or conversely, we could bounce within this range and break to the downside. So then we got a 4-day time window at the most. Okay, so it could happen tonight, it could happen tomorrow, the next day, but within this 4-day time frame. Usually, I would say, it's probably like a day or two. I do feel like this move is coming close. We either get resolution, or we're gonna break this downside resistance, or we're actually gonna break down from this macro support and fulfill the Fibonacci retracement, which ultimately I do feel we are gonna do. But yeah, you got to take it level by level. You got to take it position by position. So at this time, I did get stopped out. I will be honest with you. I had intentions when we had broken um, above, when we had this cross right here. I had taken a long position. I was kind of hoping we would hit the top side of this band here, or hit the 200. This was like my price target, but my stop loss was just below this line right here. This line, which ultimately did get I did get stopped out on this, which is completely fine. But now I know that the bullish trend that was happening, did get nullified. So we are kind of still in this sideways market still. Now, with the new data that we've acquired, it's still a wait and see. It's still a wait and see. On the daily perspective, it's not looking good. If we lose the 618 Fibonacci level, we have an hour, right, left. Now on the 4-hour time frame, I'm waiting for a confirmation of this line to act as resistance again or get broken, or for the 25K mark to get lost as support. So that's my line in the sand here. So these are my lines in the sand. If we can break this line, I'm bullish. If we break this line, I'm bearish. And that line is this one. Wait, it's only showing me the box. Hold on, sorry. Yeah, if we can break this line, sorry, I'm bearish. So yeah, this is pretty much it. I just want to say thank you so much for your time. Yeah, if you find this information insightful, please let me know. But yeah, if you have any questions, just add them into the comments, or yeah, feel free to DM me via Discord. Take care. Bye-bye.